Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now, I'm going to be talking about some of the training mistakes that I've made very recently until last year, and I've learned from them, and hopefully you guys learn from them as well and don't make the same mistakes that I made. One of the training mistakes that I used to make is training really late. And it's not even the fact that I was training late. If training late is your only option, then completely go for it. You have to get your training session in. But the mistake I was making is I chose to train late, even though I had the option of training earlier. And what happened when I was training late is I was consuming pre workout way too late. I always like having pre workout because it just boosts my performance in the gym. So I was training about 8 to 9 p.m. So I was taking pre workout really late. And in turn, it really messed up my sleeping pattern because I could not sleep until about 3 4 a.m. What was happening was I was training late and I was taking pre workout late. I was coming back home and I just could not sleep because of the caffeine in the pre workout, and it just messed up my sleeping pattern. And sleep is one of the things that I've underestimated over the years. Sleep is the most important thing because you grow when you're resting. So sleep is really important. Do not underestimate sleep. So now I train earlier in the day. I train in the mornings before 12 and I just feel so much better. I want to try and train earlier around 5:30, 6:30 a.m. So I'm slowly working my way down to train early in the mornings. Partly because it's good for you, and partly because I'll have so many more machines available to me. The amount of times that I've gone in the gym and wanted to do a superset but couldn't because the machines were taken. So when I train really early, I won't have that problem. I can train how I want. Um, I'll have access to all the machines that I want. So that's one of the reasons why I want to train early, and it just gets it out of the way when you train early. You don't have to think about it. You don't When I used to train really late at nights, there were times when I was just tired with things I would do during the day, and it really affected my performance in the gym. So training in the morning, I feel like it's the best time for me to train. I'm really energized. My performance is good, and it just gets it out of the way, so I don't have any other excuses not to train. So training late was one of the mistakes that I used to make until this year when I started training more earlier, and just it changed everything for the better. So focus on your sleep. So sleep is so important. I take CBD, which helps my sleep. It's amazing. I sleep so well. I wake up well rested. It's helped me so much with my sleep. Another mistake that I used to make is eating too much protein. And when I say too much protein, I was obsessing with protein. I think that was my mistake. Not eating too much protein, I was just obsessed with protein because and I if you guys are obsessed with protein, I don't blame you guys either because the marketing is in such a way that like all these supplement companies, they just want to push down these protein supplements down our throats. And there's been so much misinformation out there that you need this much protein, you need 2 times your body weight, you need this much protein. You don't need that much protein. 1.6 grams times your body weight in kilos is all the protein you need. And I used to eat way too much protein, and that used to mess me up because I could not stick to a diet because I would just have to eat so much food to hit 200 grams of protein, which was completely unnecessary, especially on a vegan diet. Hitting 200 grams of protein meant that I had to eat a lot of food. So I started, well, I didn't start, I did my research, and you don't need that much protein. And when I started eating 1.6 times my body weight, which is now 150 grams of protein, it made life so much easier because I can enjoy more foods. I can actually have fun with the foods that I'm eating, and I'm not completely obsessing over the protein that I'm eating because naturally the foods that choose, the food sources that I choose, are filled with protein. So I end up hitting my protein goals every single day. So I was obsessing with protein way too much last year, and cutting down and eating how much I actually needed made life so much easier. My training's better, better performance, my poops are better, and everything's so much better and so much easier. And I can experiment with so many different types of foods. I can have so much more carbs and fat now because I easily hit 150 grams of protein, so I don't have to keep on worrying about my protein. So I was obsessing with protein. That was the mistake that I made. So if you guys are obsessing way too much over protein, 1.6 times your body weight is all you really need. So stop obsessing over protein. Just focus on the quality of foods that you're eating because that's all that really matters. Another mistake that I was making, and this is subjective because we all have different training styles, but for me, I was training the bro split, which is chest one day, arms another day, back another day, and then shoulders and legs. So it's usually the 5-day training split. And honestly, when I made the switch to push pull legs program, which I did, I think a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, it made such a big difference. So when I first started training, I was following the bro split because I did not know any better. And everyone that I saw online, all these big bodybuilders, they were promoting the bro split. So I also started training bro split. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years, maybe, yeah, 5 years. And I did progress. I made a lot of progress over those years. But once I switched over to push pull legs, it just, I felt my progress just skyrocket because I was hitting all my muscle groups 2 times a week as opposed to once a week. So training your body parts 2 times a week is so much better than once a week. It's so much more challenging on my body because once I switched to a push pull legs program, I realized that I wasn't training hard enough on a bro split. And I'm not saying you can't train hard enough on a bro split, you definitely can. But for me personally, switching to a push pull leg split just challenged me so much more and my progress skyrocketed. For the first few weeks, I was feeling really sore because my body wasn't used to it. But as time progressed, my progress just, I gained so much muscle and I could see my body change I as the weeks went on a push pull leg split because I was just training 6 times a week as opposed to maybe 4 times a week. And it's one of the best decisions that I've made in my fitness journey. And that's not to say that other fitness plans, other workout programs are bad, but for me personally, I found push pull legs to be one of the biggest and the best decisions that I've made in my fitness journey, and my progress has just skyrocketed. So I really recommend you guys to just try out a push pull leg split if you are doing a bro split. And I know for me, it just worked like magic because I saw my progress just skyrocket. Another mistake or misconception that I had until last year was the benefits of training fasted or even doing cardio fasted. I used to train fasted even this year, like in January, Feb, I was training fasted pretty much every day. And to be honest, there's no real benefit of training fasted. There was so much misinformation pushed down on me that training fasted and even doing cardio fasted is better for you and it has benefits. But honestly, it's just personal preference. It has no benefits whatsoever. And it actually, my performance in the gym went down because I felt so weak in the gym and I couldn't lift as heavy because I had no nutrients in me. But it comes down to personal preference. There's no real benefits of doing it, but I would still do fasted cardio every now and then, mainly because sometimes I just feel sick after eating. So when I wake up in the morning, I would prefer to do cardio fasted rather than eating something and then doing cardio, which would make me sick. So it's just personal preference. It really has no benefit. I used to think that it had benefits, but when I did my further research on it, it honestly doesn't have much benefits. So you can train fasted if you want, if that's your personal preference, or you can eat and train. It has no benefits. There's no upside or downside to both. It just comes down to personal preference. I choose not to train fasted anymore because I feel so much better having a light meal, not too big of a meal, just a light meal before training, So I train in the morning. So I just have my smoothie in the morning and then train, and it's perfect for me. And my last point and the last mistake that I was making was having such a close mind when it came to fitness and bodybuilding. And when I first started lifting weights, everything that I researched and everything that I learned, I sort of just stuck onto that. And it really helped me. But I it's really important to have an open mind, because the things I was doing back then, I right now everything's completely changed. There's new science coming out. There's all these different things, and back then I used to think you had to eat clean, you had to train a certain way, and overtraining, you don't have to overtrain. And I used to just anything new that I saw about lifting or exercise, I just disregarded, because I was so adamant on holding my position, my beliefs of training and dieting. But it's really important to have an open mind, because back then I knew what macros were, I knew what flexible dieting was, but I just chose not to get into that because I just thought it was bullshit. But now I really wish that got into macros, I got into counting calories back then. If I did, it would have been so much easier for me to progress, because I didn't have to put so much effort into dieting that I was doing back then. I was just eating clean, and it was really hard, just plain rice, plain this, plain that. And it wasn't a diet that I could stick to. And obviously, I always preach you have to enjoy the foods you're eating on a diet. You have to enjoy it. The foods you eat to lose weight has to be the kind of foods you would eat even if you weren't dieting. The foods I'm eating right now, I would still be eating if I wasn't dieting. Probably not the same amount, but I would still be eating the same kind of foods. I'm not bored of my foods. So I've tried all those different training styles of bro split and all that, and now I know what's good for me. I know what kind of diet's good for me, and that's been through just experimenting and failing. And now I'm here, and now I'm happy because everything that I'm doing, I enjoy. I'm not bored of it, and it's made my life so much easier. Fitness just feels like it's a lifestyle. It just feels like my life. I'm not putting any extra effort into dieting, any extra effort into eating a certain way. It's just the foods that I would be eating regardless. So always have an open mind. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. So I hope you guys really learn from this. Don't make the mistakes that I used to make. And I really hope this helps you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.